Imagine applying for your dream job, meeting every qualification perfectly, yet being rejected because your great-grandfather wasn't the right person. For Mennonite converts seeking Amish acceptance, this impossible standard isn't hypothetical. It's the hidden reality that determines their fate before they even begin. The conversion promise. Amish communities present conversion as a matter of sincere faith and lifestyle commitment. Mennonite families receive detailed lists of requirements: learning Pennsylvania Dutch, adopting plain dress, studying the Ordnung, and embracing agricultural life. These formal criteria suggest that dedication and religious sincerity guarantee acceptance. Converts invest years preparing, selling modern possessions, and relocating families, believing their commitment will earn them a place in Amish society. The hidden application process. Behind the public requirements lies a secret evaluation system that most converts never discover until it's too late. Church leaders conduct private meetings to discuss each conversion request, examining factors that extend far beyond religious devotion. These closed-door sessions involve genealogical research, economic impact assessments, and social compatibility reviews. The formal religious requirements serve as screening tools, but the real decisions happen in conversations converts aren't allowed to witness. This hidden process protects established families while maintaining the illusion of religious openness. The genealogy record system. Amish communities maintain meticulous genealogical records spanning centuries, tracking bloodlines back to original Swiss and German settlers. These handwritten family trees, passed down through generations, serve as unofficial membership credentials that no convert can replicate. Church leaders consult these records when evaluating conversion requests, giving special weight to names like Stoltzfus, Yoder, Byler, and Miller that appear in founding documents. The genealogical system creates an aristocracy based on ancestry rather than achievement, where being born into the right family matters more than religious devotion. Converts quickly discover that their spiritual journey means nothing without the proper bloodline documentation that they can never obtain. Bloodline versus belief testing. When conversion applications face evaluation, church leaders apply different standards to bloodline members versus outsiders. Young people from founding families can leave for years, experiment with modern life, and return to full acceptance, but convert children who make similar mistakes find themselves permanently excluded. This double standard reveals how blood relationships trump religious behavior in determining community membership. The testing process isn't about measuring faith or commitment, but about confirming what genealogical records already predetermined. Economic territory protection. Amish communities operate sophisticated business networks built on family connections spanning generations. Established bloodlines control lucrative industries, including furniture manufacturing, construction crews, and agricultural cooperatives. When converts attempt to establish businesses within these markets, they encounter systematic exclusion from supplier networks, customer referrals, and partnership opportunities. Established families protect their economic advantages by limiting convert access to profitable ventures, forcing newcomers into marginal economic activities. This economic segregation creates a permanent class system where bloodline determines prosperity, regardless of individual skill or work ethic. The marriage network exclusion. Marriage within Amish communities operates through networks that systematically exclude convert families across generations. Young people from established bloodlines participate in informal courtship systems involving church gatherings and community events that naturally exclude convert children. Parents from founding families actively discourage their children from considering romantic relationships with converts' offspring, viewing such matches as diluting their bloodline purity. Convert families watch their children struggle with isolation during crucial adolescent years, when peer acceptance determines future opportunities. Even when rare marriages between bloodline members and convert children occur, couples often face subtle social pressure and exclusion from extended family networks. Children's inherited rejection. Second-generation convert children inherit their parents' outsider status, despite being born into Amish communities. These children grow up speaking Pennsylvania Dutch as their native language, following Amish customs from birth, yet they experience systematic exclusion from peer groups based on their parents' conversion history. School dynamics reveal the inherited nature of rejection, as bloodline children receive subtle encouragement from teachers and parents to avoid close friendships with convert children. The exclusion intensifies during adolescence when social connections determine future marriage prospects and economic opportunities. Convert children often excel academically and religiously, hoping to overcome their inherited disadvantage through exceptional performance, but discover that merit cannot compete with bloodline privilege. Many second-generation converts describe feeling perpetually foreign in their own communities, struggling with identity confusion, cultural memory, and trauma. Amish communities maintain strong cultural memories of historical persecution that shape their attitudes toward voluntary converts. The Martyr's Mirror, a central text in Amish households, reinforces the belief that true faith requires inherited suffering passed down through bloodlines rather than chosen commitment. These historical narratives create suspicion toward anyone who voluntarily seeks Amish life, viewing their choice as fundamentally different from the forced persecution that defined their ancestors' experience. Community elders share stories of European persecution, imprisonment, and martyrdom that created bonds forged through shared genetic trauma rather than shared beliefs. This cultural memory system positions suffering as hereditary rather than circumstantial, making voluntary converts seem spiritually inferior to those born into persecution legacies. The trauma narratives serve multiple functions: justifying exclusion of outsiders, strengthening bonds among bloodline members, and maintaining group cohesion through shared victimhood stories. The soft shunning methods. Amish communities employ sophisticated social exclusion techniques that avoid violating stated religious principles while creating unbearable pressure on convert families. These soft shunning practices include delayed responses to requests for help, minimal eye contact during church services, and exclusion from informal social gatherings that strengthen community bonds. Convert families experience systematic isolation through subtle mechanisms that are difficult to prove but impossible to ignore. Children from established families receive gentle discouragement from parents and teachers about forming close friendships with convert children, creating playground dynamics that mirror adult social hierarchies. Business interactions follow similar patterns, with convert-owned enterprises receiving slower service, higher prices, and reduced cooperation compared to bloodline-owned businesses. The soft shunning extends to church participation, where converts find themselves seated in specific areas, excluded from leadership discussions, and overlooked for volunteer opportunities that demonstrate community integration. These exclusion methods prove particularly effective because they maintain plausible deniability while creating psychological pressure that drives many convert families to eventually leave voluntarily. Business network barriers. The Amish business ecosystem operates through exclusive networks that systematically exclude convert entrepreneurs regardless of their skills or capital investment. Established bloodline families control supplier relationships, customer databases, and distribution channels built over generations of family partnerships. When convert families attempt to establish furniture, workshops, construction businesses, or agricultural operations, they discover that success depends on access to wholesale suppliers who offer preferential pricing to bloodline customers while charging converts retail rates. Customer referral systems operate through family networks and church connections that naturally exclude outsiders, forcing convert businesses to compete for the remaining market share at significant disadvantages. Equipment sharing arrangements, essential for agricultural success, exclude convert families from expensive machinery cooperatives that make farming profitable for established bloodlines. The business barriers extend to financial services, with informal lending networks providing favorable terms to family members while requiring converts to seek expensive outside financing. Professional services, including veterinary care, equipment repair, and transportation, follow similar patterns, with bloodline providers offering priority service and better rates to family network members. Land ownership gatekeeping. Land ownership within Amish settlements follows complex informal systems that effectively exclude convert families from prime agricultural properties essential for community integration. Established bloodline families maintain first refusal rights on property sales through family networks that alert relatives to opportunities before they reach public markets. This system ensures that the most productive farmland, strategically located parcels, and properties with established infrastructure remain within founding family control across generations. When converts do manage to purchase land, they often find themselves limited to marginal properties with poor soil, inadequate water access, or unfavorable locations that make agricultural success difficult. The land gatekeeping extends beyond initial purchases to ongoing property development, where converts discover that expansion opportunities, adjacent parcel availability, and infrastructure improvements require cooperation from neighboring bloodline families who control access roads, utility easements, and water rights. Zoning decisions within Amish settlements follow informal processes dominated by established families who can effectively veto development proposals that might benefit convert landowners. The agricultural cooperatives, equipment sharing arrangements, and group purchasing programs that make small-scale farming profitable exclude convert landowners from cost-saving opportunities available to bloodline farmers. Religious authority bloodlines. Church leadership positions within Amish communities demonstrate clear patterns favoring bloodline families despite claims of divine guidance through lot-casting selection processes. Historical analysis of bishop, minister, and deacon appointments reveals that certain family names appear repeatedly across generations, creating religious dynasties that exclude convert families from spiritual authority. The lot casting system, theoretically random, operates within pre-selected candidate pools that naturally favor established bloodlines through community nomination processes controlled by existing leaders. Convert families discover that achieving candidacy for church leadership requires social acceptance and community endorsement that their outsider status makes impossible to obtain. The religious authority system creates multiple barriers that prevent converts from achieving spiritual influence, including informal mentorship programs that prepare bloodline youth for future leadership while excluding convert children from similar opportunities. Theological education within Amish communities flows through family networks where religious knowledge, interpretation skills, and leadership techniques pass from fathers to sons across generations, creating knowledge advantages that converts cannot replicate. The church discipline system reflects these authority patterns, with bloodline leaders showing greater leniency toward family members while applying stricter standards to convert behavior and religious practice. Convert families often possess superior theological education and religious commitment compared to bloodline leaders, yet find themselves permanently excluded from decision-making processes that affect their lives and communities. Modern pressure points. Contemporary challenges including demographic decline, genetic health concerns, and economic pressures are creating internal debates within Amish communities about their traditional exclusion of converts, though change remains limited and controversial. Declining birth rates in established settlements threaten community viability as young people leave for urban opportunities, while bloodline families produce fewer children to maintain population levels. Aging community demographics create labor shortages in essential industries, including agriculture, construction, and traditional crafts that historically employed multiple generations of family workers. Genetic health issues resulting from centuries of endogamous marriage patterns are forcing some communities to acknowledge the medical benefits that genetic diversity from converts could provide to address hereditary disorders affecting bloodline families. Medical professionals working with Amish communities have documented increased rates of genetic conditions including Ellis-Van Creveld syndrome, maple syrup, urine disease, and various metabolic disorders that primarily affect bloodline families while remaining rare among converts from different genetic backgrounds. Economic pressures from land scarcity, agricultural consolidation, and competition from industrial producers are challenging traditional business models that depend on family networks and informal cooperation arrangements. Some frontier settlements experiencing severe population decline have begun quietly accepting converts out of necessity, though these exceptions remain controversial and face criticism from established communities. Generational divides within Amish leadership reflect changing attitudes, with younger leaders sometimes questioning traditional exclusion practices while older authorities defend bloodline privileges as essential for cultural preservation. Educational exposure through interactions with medical professionals, social workers, and business partners has increased awareness of discrimination issues, creating internal pressure for policy changes. Technology adoption for business purposes has exposed some Amish communities to external criticism regarding their conversion practices, forcing leaders to develop more sophisticated justifications for exclusionary policies. Climate change impacts on agriculture are forcing some communities to consider whether their traditional farming methods and family-based labor systems can adapt without incorporating outside expertise and potentially accepting converts with relevant skills and knowledge.